What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Universal Mastery. Now, welcome to my channel. What I do here is I break down the occult sciences to a very practical level so that you can use them and apply them in your day-to-day life so that you get actual results, okay? Now, what I'm going to be doing in today's video is a weekly thing that I have ongoing. And pretty much what it is a weekly reading. So what I'm doing is I'm doing a tarot card reading, giving you what to expect for this week that is ahead, which is going to be, let me double check the dates real quick. I'm gonna have it on the video. I just want to double check. So it's gonna be the 15th through the 21st. Okay, so if you want to know what to expect from the 15th to the 21st, then definitely what you're gonna want to do is stay tuned for the rest of this video. Okay, so just giving you, a little heads up on who I am. My name is Jeremiah Schwartz. I am a professional occultist. I am studied in tarot. I'm studied in astrology, and I am fully initiated in Kabbalah when it comes to the top of the tree and the bottom of the tree. So that would be the Sephiroth and the Qliphoth. This is just to give you a little bit of an explanation of who I am, just so you know who's giving you this reading today. Okay, this is someone who's experienced, someone who's gone deep into occult practices. So the way that I'm going to be reading these cards is going to be broken down in a very subjective way, and it's also going to be very intuitive. I'm going to give you some messages that I feel like you may need to hear coming straight from my spirit. Okay, so first thing that I like to do is I take the deck, and because of Kabbalah, to link it to the Kabbalah tree, I shuffle it 22 times. So for those of you that are unaware, the Kabbalah tree has 22 archetypal pathways on it. Okay, so that's what I do. I shuffle it 20 times. So 1, 2, 3. Now, as I'm shuffling these cards, what I want you to do right now is I want you to pick a number from 1 to 3. It's either a 1, a 2, or a 3. That is going to be the card that is going to be linked to your own personal reading. Okay. Okay, so I got the deck shuffled 22 times. Now, next thing I want to say is definitely, if you feel like, after this video, if you feel like your reading was accurate, definitely share this video to somebody who you think this would offer value to. Okay, so if you feel like the reading was accurate and you like what you got from it, which I can almost guarantee you it's going to be accurate, go ahead and share it to people. Get this information out there so that people can be in tune with what changes are coming in their near future. Okay, so deck has been shuffled 22 times. Now the next thing I do is I come up with a 3-digit number that comes to me from my spirit. Okay, got it. So the number that came to me was 623. Okay, now why I'm picking this 3-digit number is because the way I do the reading is I have you pick from 1 all the way up to 3. So it's either going to be 1, a 2, or a 3. I have you pick one of those numbers, and I break down each card. I pull one card. So for 623, the first card I pick is going to be the number 1. The second card I pick is going to be the number 2. And then the third card I pick is going to be the number 3. And that's creating a link between me and you, who is, who's listening to the reading and me giving it to you. Okay, so my spirit obviously is very, my spirit travels in the astral, my spirit travels in all kinds of other dimensions. So I got that number 623 for a very purposeful reason. So that's why I picked that number that is given to me. Okay, so let's go right into it. So I'm going to start with the 6. So what I'm going to do is take it and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I got number 1s right there. I'm going to take the excess cards. I'm going to put them to the side. The next number is 2. So I'm going to take the deck. 1, 2. This is the number 2s. Put your card right there, the excess one right there. And then the next number is 3. So we're going to go 1, 2, and that's it. 3. Excess right there. This is the number 3s, so I got the cards in order. I'm gonna leave those on the ground for now. Gonna put the deck to the side. Bear with me. Let me get my Kabbalah sheet so I can break down the Hebrew letter if we get a Hebrew letter. And I'm gonna get my grimoire, so if I need to break down some elements, I can do that as well. So we're gonna put that to the side. All right, let's go. So, jumping right into it, we are going to start with the number 1. So if you chose the number 1, this is gonna be your card right here. Here we go. Okay. Okay, so I got everything I need from the card. So first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna explain what I'm seeing on the card, okay? As I'm explaining what I'm seeing, I want you to relate this back to yourself, okay? So for my number 1s, as I explain this symbolism that's in this card, you relate this back to yourself. Now, I'm gonna go right into it. So here we go. So I see a guy who is kneeling on his right knee, and he is in front of this altar that is rooted from the ground. It's like a literal nature altar. It is like a root that is popping out of the ground, a strong, big root that forms a circle. And on this circle, there are 9 wands. 8 of them are locked into the circle, meaning he stuck these wands, these wooden wands, in the roots, going around this altar circle. And he's in the midst of putting the 9th wand on it, okay? I'm also seeing meshed in between this altar that's popping out of the ground, and I'll show you the card in a second, but I'm also seeing meshed in with this altar that's popping out of the ground, a skull made out of wood, and I'm seeing a baby made out of wood on the opposite side, okay? The person that's kneeling is wearing a red little cloak covering his privates, and then on his back he has a symbolism, an elemental symbolism that I will break down in a moment. And his garment is red, as I said, and his hair is also red, okay? Now this card is ruled by the moon, and the zodiac sign that is also influencing this card is Sagittarius. Okay, so now, oh, and let me say this as well. And on the ground, where he's kneeling, there is an animalistic footprint. So there is literally a print of some sort of beast, like an animal, a big one too. Not a small animal, but a big animal. And there's also these flowers that are sprouting up around this altar, okay? So now I'm gonna show you the card and then I'm gonna start unpacking it, okay? So this is the card right here. I'm gonna zoom in so that you can really get a good look of it, or a look at it. So it's right there. Okay, so here we go. So first thing first, I like to mention, you know, what the suit means. So this is a wands card. The wands usually always symbolize psychic power. The wands symbolize occult. They symbolize magic. And they symbolize the ability to use psychic power or spiritual force. Spiritual forces. The wands have that symbolism to them, okay? Now, the fact that there is this root coming out of the ground that's forming a circle, the root is symbolic of the tree of life, okay? So for those of you that are familiar with Kabbalah, this is the tree of life. I always have this handy. The tree of life is the tree. It is the tree of life, the root. Okay, it is it's the tree of spiritual evolution. Okay, and once again, you know, for those of you that know my channel, you know that I'm not a light worker. You know that I'm not giving you anything fluffy. I'm very authentic and very studied in experience when it comes to spiritual evolution. So there is you could say a lighter aspect, a more balanced aspect of spiritual evolution, a more natural aspect, and then there is a qliphothic, darker aspect, okay? So in its totality, what this root is symbolizing is that tree of life. It's symbolizing your spirituality and your spiritual journey. Now, there are 8 wands that are surrounding this already, which means that this person, you for my number ones, have made some sort of progress, okay? You've made some sort of completion, okay? You're approaching a completion, okay? So for my number ones, within this week to come, you're going to be experiencing these energies of completion. There may be a death that is attributed to that. And when I say death, I'm not talking about physical, although it may, it always could manifest physically, but that's not what I'm referring to. There is something that died, spiritually, psychologically, emotionally, mentally, that is leading to a rebirth. And this is all coming within the energies of a completion. So something is going to finalize and disappear or dissolve, dissolute. Something is going to die that is going to complete something for you within this week to come, or you may be feeling these energies now. You may be intuitive, already picking up on this. And that completion is going to lead to a new beginning. Okay, which also makes a lot of sense in regards to astrology, because we're coming to the end of a mass collective cycle. So for those of you that know about astrology, you have the 12 different houses, 1 to 12. The mass collective, astrological alignments, we are in the 12th house right now in regards to a majority of the planetary influences that we're feeling. And it's going to be moving into the 1st house, which is the beginning of a new cycle. Also connected to the equinox, okay? So for my number ones, this is 100% referring and showing me that you've reached a level of completion, which is very good. This is showing signs that you've taken advantage of this past cycle that you've been through. You've taken advantage of this past spiritual self-developmental challenge that you've been faced with, and you're putting on the final wand to complete the circle. And once again, that is happening through an energetic transference of something that's going to die away from yourself, or maybe it could potentially be something that you need to let go and die to fully complete that circle, to fully complete that cycle and finish it out, okay? And when you do that, there is going to be a new beginning. Now that new beginning can be different depending on who it is that's listening to this, but just know that within this week, you are coming to a finalization that is going to lead you to a brand new beginning, which, every new beginning is extremely powerful. Okay, this is symbolizing, this card for my number ones. This is a very good sign to have. This means that you're taking the next steps in regards to your spiritual evolution, and that you're on the journey. It means you're going in sync with evolution. So you are making progress. Okay, and once again, this root is coming out of the ground. There's these really tall grass blades that are coming up behind him as well, and then there's these flowers, which is symbolizing a form of beauty. You could say a form of fruitation, right? Like a flower starts as a seed, and then it grows, and then it turns into a beautiful looking plant. So there is fruitation that is coming from this finalization. So the best thing that I can really say to you for my number ones is continue on the path that you're already on now. Try your hardest to recognize what it is that's dying away. And it could honestly be just like your old life, or this old cycle, or your old self is dying like naturally while you're following your journey. And then there's going to be a rebirth out of that. But it could also mean that there is something that you need to die to further finalize this cycle that you may be in, to end it off on the note that is most effective for you, on the note that is going to be in your best interest. But all in all, this card is 100% representing you're coming to a finalization, And that finalization is symbolizing the old dying and the new being reborn. So you're stepping into a new paradigm, you're stepping into a new sphere of understanding, wisdom, and knowledge. So be ready for a new beginning, because things are going to start changing for you. Okay, now let me break down the elements real quick. Let me just make sure what I got here. Okay, so it looks like we got 2 elements that are shown on this card, and the first element that I see is fire. So fire has to do with the 7 lower spheres on the Kabbalah tree of life, which are the spheres of fiery ordeals. There are spheres where you go through certain fiery types of challenges that test you, that challenge you, and all of these tests and all of these challenges are geared in an initiatory way to help improve you, help refine you, and make you more crystallized in regards to your consciousness, so that you can really get what it is that you want and what you need out of this life. Okay, so that's what fire has to do. So it shows that you've been through these challenges, and obviously, you know, he's putting up all these wands, which is signifying success. Okay, the card is showing that he's accomplished a lot of challenging. He's been victorious throughout a lot of challenging experiences. So that is a good sign. And it looks like you're on this very final one now, but I'm not getting any signs on this card that's resembling that you're making mistakes or there's anything major that is holding you back. It looks like if you continue down the path that you're on and continue moving forward and following your true self and getting in touch with your own divine intelligence, your own daemon, then you are going to be successful, and that's going to complete this entire process for you to lead you into a new beginning, which is going to be something completely different, which is going to, you know, reap a lot of rewards for you. Okay, so we have that element. The next element is the water element. So water has to do with the emotions. Water has to do with the feminine as well. It's fluid. So I can imagine that this is going to improve your emotional state, having gone through all of these challenges and coming through this big completion. It looks like you probably are going to be stepping into a more emotionally abundant new beginning. So what I'm saying by that is it looks like you've probably gone through a lot of fiery challenges within this, you know, however long you may have been going through this for a year, months on end. It could have been a while, right? And it looks like this new beginning that's coming for you is going to be like a feminine uplifting. So what I mean by that is it looks like there is going to be a current of energy that is going to flow into your life that's going to be feminine in nature, that is going to be very valuable and very beneficial for you. And it's going to give you a sense of emotional balance. Excuse me, it's also going to give you a sense of an emotional power. And it's going to give you emotional abundance, meaning when you learn how to master your emotions, your life gets better because you're no longer reacting to everything. Okay, all the challenges that you went through have alchemized your state of mind and has permanently changed your energetic field. So now you are a different person. So your emotions are different now. And with this new change that it looks like you're going to be stepping into within this week, your emotions are going to be a lot more balanced, which is going to reflect in your day-to-day life. And that's going to be very beneficial for all of you who pick number 1. So here we go. So the planet that is associated with it is the moon. Okay, so this is interesting. So the moon, in regards to Kabbalah, would be this sphere right here. This is the sphere of Yesod. Okay, so in regards to initiation, you know, this is Malkuth, this is the physical plane, and then what you would do to initiate through the tree is move up to Yesod, then you would go over here to Hod, then you go to Netzach, then Tifereth, then Gavura, then Chesed, then Binah, Chokmah, and then Kether. But when you finish your initiations, right, the energy channels down from Kether, which is, you could think of very close to the source. Kether is extremely close to source. The energy channels downwards, boom, 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 and it all comes into Yesod. All the energy that you, like, let's say you've traveled through the tree and you've gotten, let's say you got to here, and now you're ready to start crystallizing the things that you've experienced, the things that you've been through. All that energy is going to travel, as I just went through, boom, 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 into Yesod to then crystallize into Malkuth. So it all has to come back down through that feminine gateway, or that feminine mass collective current. This is ruled by the moon. It's feminine. This is emotional, but this is highly symbolic of the astral plane and the mass collective consciousness and the unconsciousness. This is everything that has to do with your ability to visualize, your ability to receive visions, your psychic senses, things of that nature. It all comes through there, everything that you've developed, and comes into the physical plane so that it can be fully crystallized, so that the things that you visualize, the visions you've got, the visions you've obtained, the things that you've created in your mind are going to start taking physical form. So that seems like that's what that card is symbolizing. So you're in a place where things are going to start crystallizing, things are going to start taking form. So that's awesome. Okay. So other than that, as I said, the zodiac sign is Sagittarius. And to be quite honest with you, I am not 100% studied with all the zodiac signs. I know a couple of them, but Sagittarius is one that I'm not comfortable enough to really give you a full breakdown on. So what I would recommend is just go look up another video on what the energies of Sagittarius are and look into that and study it, because those energies are also going to influence you for this week to come. And that's going to wrap up the reading for my number ones. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into the reading for the number twos. So here we go. Okay, so for my number twos, here we go. Okay. All right, so I got it. So for my number twos, what I'm gonna do is I'm going to explain the card and then I'm gonna break it down. So here we go. So as I'm explaining this, be relating this to yourself, okay? Relate this to yourself so that you can really understand and gain a connection to the card and to what I'm explaining, okay? So what I'm seeing is I'm seeing a man who is sitting on some mud. And it looks like the background of where he's sitting is kind of like a cliff, right? It looks like there's a drop off. Now he's sitting on some mud, his legs are completely dirty, his elbows are dirty, his body's dirty, okay? Now his hands are on his head as if he's got this migraine, okay? Like there's a headache or there's a migraine or there's something that is just like driving him crazy, okay? Now on his right hand, there is this root that is popping out of the mud and locking around his arm. It's like literally holding on to him. And this is the 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the 5 of swords, okay? Now these swords are in the background above his head, and they are forming a shape of Saturn, a Saturnian symbol. And there's also the 5th sword is going right down the middle, and it looks like it's stabbing right into his head. But there's no blood, so it's not indicating like it's an all bad thing. It's not indicating that he's being attacked or, you know, something is causing him that amount of physical pain. But it is going into his head, and as he's holding onto his head, and I'll show you the card in a second, as he's holding onto his head, you see that at the very top there is this eye. There's literally like a third eye that he has that seems to be at the very top of his head. And he definitely has a weird, interesting looking face. It's not like a normal human face. So you could think of it that this sword is stabbing through the top of his head, and it's his third eye is opening. Okay, now in the background, what I'm seeing is I am seeing a shape of a diamond. Okay, in regards to this subtle symbolism that is in the background, and not only am I seeing the shape of a diamond, but I am also seeing rays of light. Okay, rays of sunlight, gold light. Okay, so this card is ruled by Venus. Okay, the planetary energy of Venus, and the zodiac sign attributed to this card is going to be Aquarius. Okay, so I'm going to show you the card. This is the card right here. Okay, I'm going to zoom in so you can really see it. Okay, so now let me go into what this represents. Okay, so for my number twos, the fact that this man is sitting in some dirt and this root is latching onto his right arm, okay, already off the bat, what this is telling me and what my spirit's telling me to let you know is that this is a masculine trap. And when I say that, obviously that's gonna like trigger some people. They're gonna be like, wait, what do you mean masculine trap? This is this is showing me signs that you're trapped within your own masculinity, whether you're a male or a female. Okay, this is showing me signs that there's masculine energies that are influencing you right now that are trapping your thinking. They're trapping your ability to be creative. They're trapping your ability to manifest the things that you want to manifest. And quite frankly, they're probably trapping your ability to be psychic in general, to use psychic power. Okay, your own vision, your own intention to manifest. Okay, so this root that is coming out, wrapping around his right hand, the right hand is always symbolic of the masculine. And the root is symbolizing evolution. Okay, the root connects back to the tree, and the tree is in regards to the tree of life, the entire system of Kabbalistic spiritual evolution. So the root is holding on to his right hand, which is the masculine hand. Evolution is latching onto him, trying to show him signs that, hey, you're being a little too masculine, you're being a little too logical, you're thinking too much, you're being too analytical. Let go, evolve. And it's driving him insane because he keeps getting signs in his day-to-day life that are showing him what he needs to do. So for my number twos, you're getting these signs, and within this week it's going to get even more prominent. You're going to get these signs that are showing you exactly what you need to do to continue evolving. And you're right now in this current moment, and later in this week you may, be feeling this. You're being too analytical, you're being too logical, you're being too masculine. What does that mean? Okay, what does being too masculine mean? That means you're trying to make sense out of something that isn't necessarily meant to be made sense of in this current moment. You're trying to make it make sense so that you feel comfortable with the transformation that needs to happen, but sometimes the transformation that needs to happen is uncomfortable, and that's exactly what it's supposed to be. Okay, so stop trying to find comfort in something that's trying to transform you in something that's not supposed to be comfortable, because that's where the transformation actually happens, in that level of uncomfort. Okay, so the more you're trying to be analytical, the more you're trying to analyze this, the more you're putting stress in your mind that's going to literally drive you crazy. So that's also symbolizing what the swords is representing. So as I said, the swords are forming a Saturnian symbol. The Saturnian symbol, for those of you that don't know about Saturn, Saturn has to do with control. Saturn has to do with occult. Saturn has to do with fear. It has to do with anxiety. It has to do with death. Okay, so the Saturnian symbol that this is showing me is that there is a level of control that this masculine energy, this analytical urge that you try to make sense out of everything and try to add everything up and make sure it makes sense before you act on it, that part of you is controlling you, and it's controlling your life right now. Okay, it's causing you to not actually step into the life that is in your best interest. Okay, so that's controlling you, and it's producing more fear, it's producing more anxiety, and it's going to keep manifesting situations in your day-to-day life until you finally understand how to get out of it and how to let go and be receptive and trust your intuition, follow your true self, follow your spirit, and your spirit will guide you. Illogically, oftentimes, it will not make sense what your spirit says, but as you learn to feel it, it becomes an inner knowing, and when you go in that direction, you always find out that it was the best possible decision you could have made, because there is an occult, hidden science behind your evolutionary connection. So it's very similar to, you know, how you would use a Bluetooth in a car, right? You use the Bluetooth to connect your phone to your car speakers, assuming you have a Bluetooth in your car. You don't see the connection happening, right? You don't see the invisible circuit of radiation that has to connect from your phone to your car's Bluetooth. But there is a literal invisible connection that if you're psychic, you couldn't see, but there is an energetic, invisible connection that is taking place between your phone and that car. So your intuition is that inner, invisible science. It is science, it is not woo-woo, that is guiding you in the most proper steps that you need to go in order to get what it is that you need and what you want. But if you let your mind get in front of your source connection or your spirit connection, then you are cutting off that signal, you're cutting off that connection, and now your mind turns, now your mind gets more out of balance, and then you start being egotistical, which says, oh, if I can make sense out of this to my ego or to my sense of self, then that means I should take action on it. And that path does not lead you to where you want to be. Now, obviously, I'm not saying that the ego is bad, and I'm not saying that using rationality is bad or using logic or analytical thinking is bad, but what this card is telling me is that you are using way too much of it, and for you in this current moment, it seems like it's causing you a very big disservice, okay? So there is that fifth sword that's going right between the Saturnian symbol, going right into his head, which is signifying the swords represents analytical thinking. The swords represents the element of air. It represents logic, okay? It's like, how can I think? How can I do this? How can I do this? And it's going right into his head, stabbing it, which is making him like, but his third eye is opening. So because you're going through these experiences, it's not all bad, right? Because you're going through these experiences that are driving you absolutely insane, what it should end up doing in this week, at some point in this week, is it should end up clicking for you, assuming you're following your true self, assuming you're listening to your spirit. It should end up clicking, and you will realize that this analytical way of thinking, or this masculine way of acting or being in this moment for you, I'm not saying masculinity is bad or femininity is good. You need them in balance, but for you number twos right now, this should end up teaching you that that is not the way forward for where you're at right now. And there is a new type of energy that needs to come in your path that is going to allow new opportunities, allow new states of consciousness to enter into your spirit, into your body, and then manifest in reality. I understand that you're probably, for my number twos, you're probably like people that want to achieve a lot of things. You're probably people that want to make sense out of a lot of things. I'm sure you have a lot of big ideas. I'm sure you are very practical about things, but there is a level of balance that you need, and that feminine current is where that balance begins. And that is the ultimate power to manifest everything you want. You know, being logical is awesome, being analytical is awesome, being masculine is awesome, but not if you don't know how to embrace your feminine power first. And this goes for all my men out there. I know there's a concept where it's like men have to be more masculine and women have to be more feminine. There is definitely a difference between the male and the female in regards to those energetic receptive, in regards to the energetic receptiveness, but that does not mean that a woman cannot be masculine and a man cannot be feminine. We all embrace these energies, and we are in spirit androgynous beings. So this is something for you number twos, whether you are a man or a woman, because I've seen a lot of women that are trapped in masculine confines too, right? This is a very common thing in our Mass Collective. So this is a time where it is very important for you to embrace your receptivity, embrace the feminine current, and be open, be receptive. Stop trying to put it in a box. Stop trying to say, hey, this is what's gonna happen, this is how I'm gonna do it. It's your own energy. Your own spirit is like, hey, we're gonna move in this direction. Then your ego says, well, how are we gonna do it? And why are we doing it? And your spirit's like, shut the fuck up, just follow it, right? That's what you need to embrace more, okay? So the planetary energy that is associated with this card is, sure enough, Venus, okay? Venus is known as one of the more feminine planets. It is also a planet of harmony. It is a planet of balance. It is a planet of beauty. Beauty is also associated with Venus, attractiveness, love, romance. These are all things that you will get more of when you learn how to embrace this feminine current. Because right now, these Venus energies are not able to enter into your consciousness. They're not able to come through your unconscious or through your subconscious right now because you're resisting them. So within this week, it should be teaching you how to be receptive to these feminine energies because of all the challenges that you're facing when it comes to your analytical thinking and your logical thinking and those masculine ways of thinking that you think are necessary for survival. When, once again, like, spirit is so powerful. So it's the feminine current that, you know, it takes care of you, right? Like when you're a baby, your mom gave birth to you. And this isn't the case for everybody, but when you're a baby, there's always a woman at some point that looks over you and nurtures you, okay? That is a microcosmic manifestation of what happens in the macrocosm. There are spirits, there are energies, energetic intelligences that are very feminine and nurturing in nature that want to help you in your journey, but the only way that they can do that is if you're receptive to it. If you're not receptive to it, then sometimes they can be your worst enemy until you figure it out, okay? Because it's all meant to teach you how to evolve, okay? So yeah, other than that, that's where I'm going to wrap the card up. I think there's a lot of value that is going to come out of the out of this week experience that you have coming up. Once again, there are these rays of light in the background, which shows that there is going to be a self-realization that is going to come out of this week of challenge, where you're trying to get out of that state of mind. And then, as I said, there's a diamond that's shaped in the back, and the diamond always symbolizes refined consciousness. And refined consciousness, the diamond, what that means is a bridge between the conscious and the subconscious. Okay, that is a bridge between your masculine and your feminine. That is the diamond. It's balanced. Okay. And this card is showing a lot of value that is coming out of that when you learn how to embrace that feminine current and that receptivity and learn how to follow your inner knowings, okay? Because that's where your spirit is, and your spirit wants to have dialogue with you, but it can't if your ego is trying to make sense out of your spirit before it can even have that dialogue, because your spirit is not going to bypass that. Your spirit's going to allow you to keep going through whatever experiences you need to go through that are going to shake you out of it and make you suffer until you realize this isn't working. Let me try something new. And the more you resist it, the more you hold on to this analytical, logical way of thinking, the harder things are just going to get. And you're going to continue to suffer. So you need to break that cycle. And it does look like by the end of this week, you will be breaking that cycle. And there's going to be a lot of value, a lot of insight, and a lot of understanding that will come to you from having done that. Okay, and then we have the zodiac sign that's also attributed to it, which is Aquarius. So definitely do yourself a favor and look at Aquarius energies, because those are going to be influencing you as well. So do a little bit of research on Aquarius and what the energies behind that represent. As I said, those energies will be influencing you from the 15th all the way to the 21st. So that is the number two readings. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. Okay, so now for my number threes, we are going to pull your card in just a second. Here we go. Okay, so for my number threes, I'm going to read off the symbolism of the card, and as I'm reading off this symbolism, I want you to be attributing this to yourself as well, okay? Just to create that link between the card and between you. Okay, so here we go. So what I'm seeing, and I will show you the card in just a moment. What I'm seeing is I'm seeing a woman who is dressed in a white dress, and she has she has 5 cups, empty cups, that are on her back. Okay, she has 5 empty cups that are on her back, that are strapped to her, and she is holding up with her right hand a cup, filling it up with water that is coming right from the sky. It seems to be coming right down from the sky. What I'm seeing in the background of this card is it looks like there is some very subtle silhouettes of roots and of trees in the background, which definitely has a symbolism of nature. And towards the bottom of this card, it gets darker. So the bottom almost gets completely black. So as you move higher up in the card, it gets lighter, and then she's holding the cup up, and there's water that's flowing into the cup. Now this lady has blonde, golden hair, and she also has a halo around her head, okay? The planetary influence that is behind this card is the sun, and then the zodiac sign is going to be Scorpio, okay? So there's also an element on here as well that I will break down, but let me show you the card. So this right here is the card that you chose. Oh, okay, so let me break this down. So I'm seeing this lady who is coming out of the dark. It looks like where she just came out of was a dark place. So for my number threes, this is showing me that within this week, you're going to be coming out of a dark place, and you may be feeling this energy now, okay? But you're coming out of something dark. You're coming out of a dark place that was a challenging experience, and quite frankly, very emotionally draining. So this experience has taken a lot out of you emotionally, but it was necessary for you to go through, because obviously the more drained you are emotionally, the more you're forced to be the observer. Because when you're the observer, you recognize emotions happen to your body, but your spirit is in its totality unaffected by the emotions. So the more your emotions get drained out of you, the more potential you have to get in touch with the observer state and with your own spirit, okay? With your own divine intelligence, which is an aspect of source, okay? Which is evolution. So this is showing me that you've come out of a dark place, and the halo that is around this woman's head is symbolizing that she has taken advantage of that challenge, or of that initiation, of that darkness, okay? And then, as I said, there is symbolism of these trees that are in the background, and the trees are dark. Like the silhouette of the trees is dark. So it's showing that she was like almost like she's in this dark forest, okay? And that's, once again, the forest, the nature, the trees, that symbolizes the tree of life. That symbolizes the process of spiritual self-development. And for everyone that knows about spiritual self-development, it's not all not all smooth sailing. It's not all light. There is a dark side to spiritual evolution. And if you really want to self-develop and you really want to get to your own personal highest levels of power, you're going to have to embrace that at some point or another, unless you don't want that. If you don't want to embrace that, if you don't want to experience that power, or if you don't want to experience that potential, then you can resist it and you can stay away from it. But the reality is that the mass collective that we have in today's society is shifting into a darker understanding that there is darkness that is necessary to look into, to essentially alchemize and turn into power for the self. Okay, so once again, for my number 3 is, it looks like you've come out of this dark place, and now that you're coming out of this dark place, so within this week you're going to be stepping out of a past experience that you've probably been experiencing for a while. Now you're ready to start having new emotional experiences that are going to fill your cup. So this lady is holding out with her masculine hand. The right hand is always the masculine. The cup, the cup is symbolizing feminine. The water going into the cup is also feminine. It means the feminine current is flowing through the masculine current. So this card is symbolizing balance, and the balance was able to be achieved because of the dark experience that you went through, that you're now shifting out of. And now that you're shifting out of it, now this water is filling the cup. So the emotional state that you have for my number 3s is going to start coming back in a more harmonious way within this week that's coming. And what it's going to help you do is it's going to give you a stronger sense of yourself, because there's a planetary energy that is connected to this card, which is the sun. And the sun represents the self. The sun represents, oh, this is me. And the sun also, like if we're going to be talking about metals that are involved with the sun, you could think of gold. The sun can also be thought of as consciousness, like understanding. So this is giving me signs, since there is a large feminine energy behind this card. This is showing me signs that you're balanced. You're stepping into a state of balance now, and you're stepping into a conscious awareness of the masculine and feminine properties of self-development. You're stepping into a conscious awareness of the light aspects of awareness, where you're spreading healing, where you're helping others, where you're in alignment with source. And then you're also in the understanding of the darker side of spiritual evolution, which is you have to love yourself before you can love others. You have to look out for your own self-interest before you look out for other people's self-interest. Okay, you have to focus on taking care of yourself and making sure you're set before that can start flowing outwards to other people, and then you can produce what I like to call the black light. Okay, for those of you that don't know, light comes from darkness. It doesn't happen the other way around. Everyone in this new age society always likes to talk about, oh, light this, light that, light this, I'm a light worker. I work, I only want to heal. But if you're in that mindset, that's telling me, and that's showing signs that you haven't embraced your darkness yet. And if you haven't embraced your darkness yet, and you're this fake new age light worker, you're actually causing more harm than you are good to society. So you're actually causing more harm in regards to source than if you were embracing the darker aspects of yourself, feeling the pain, feeling the suffering, feeling the depression, feeling the anxiety, feeling the fear, understanding it, getting an idea of what it is, trusting your intuition, right? So this is showing me, once again, for my number 3, is that you are in a place where you've come to this realization, and you're moving into a place where it's becoming more prominent. So by the end of this week, this will be solidifying, assuming that you're still going to be on your path, following your true self, and taking full advantage of that. Okay, so this is a good card to get. And she has 6 cups, or she has 5 cups on her back. So she has a lot more to gain. So you are now stepping into an experience in your life, a new phase in your life, where you're now going to be filling yourself up. Okay, so you just went through this long experience. I can tell it's been a while, where you've been emotionally drained. Things have been taken from you. Things have been drained out of you. And now that you've reached that balance point, that 0 point, now you lost everything, right? Like almost everything it may feel, things that have mattered to you, to say the least. You have lost a lot of those things, although those things that you lost were not in your best interest. You have to remember that. But now you're stepping into a phase where these things are going to be re-added to you in a much more balanced and authentic and important way. So this is a great card to have. And remember, the halo that she has around her head signifies that she's a powerful woman. You know, she has power. Why else would there be a floating halo around her head? Which means she learned about the light that was produced from the darkness. She realized that there is no light without dark. Dark created light, okay? So this is what she realized. And when she realized that, that's when the halo formed, okay? So you're at a state where this is something that you're understanding now, and within this week, you're gonna fully understand. So yeah, so let me break down the element that's on this card. 1 second. Okay, so the element that we have on this card is going to be associated with water. And water, so the cups, I definitely want to mention this, the cups represent your emotions, okay? The cups represent feminine energy, okay? The water, okay, that is the opening. There's a lot of people that don't know this, but the feminine current is literally the opening to your own spiritual self-development. So when I say that, I'm talking about in regards to deep level knowledge in regards to spiritual initiation. Like, you have to embrace the feminine energy, the feminine receptive currents to even begin your journey of self-development. If you don't do that, then you're not going to be receptive. And if you're not receptive, you're not able to evolve. So that is the first step. And in regards to Kabbalah, it literally is the first sphere you would move into. So this is the physical plane, Malkuth. And the very first sphere of initiation is Yesod, which is ruled by the moon. And the moon is in regards to the feminine current, the female nature, the ebbs and the flows, the ups and the downs, the ocean of consciousness and unconsciousness, the water, the liquid. So the cups represents that. You know, and the fact that, you know, you pulled the cups, once again, it's signifying that you've gone through that emotional experience where your emotions have been drained. You've probably been through a lot of shit that's been challenging you on an emotional level, which shows me that you're probably somewhat newer in your journey of self-development, and you were identified with your emotions. And now that your emotions have been tested, now that you've gone through experiences, challenges, and initiations, those emotions were taken away from you and they left you in the state of the observer, where you felt like, and you may, you know, I don't know if you may still feel like this, but there's a possibility, you feel like you lost everything. And now you're just, you know, you're just you, right? And that's powerful. You know, when you lose everything, you're left with you, and that's it. And when you're left with you, there's a realization that, holy shit, this is me. And when you figure that out, that's your connection to your spirit. That's the connection to source, your spirit being an aspect of source. And then from there, then you can start adding things onto that new foundation. And that's extremely powerful. So once again, this card is ruled by the element water, and then the sun is signifying the complete balance of that. Okay, the sun is signifying the conscious, that's more so masculine energy. That's like, oh, I get it, this is why I went through this, or this is what I went through, and this is how it all manifested, and you can make sense out of your journey now. You can make sense from the feminine chaos. You can bring order to it now, right? But in order to do that, first you have to go through the chaos. First you have to embrace that feminine energy and let it transform you and realize that it actually guides you. Although it may take you into certain circumstances that are not comfortable, it's still essential for your evolution. But as I said, this card's also ruled by the sun, which stands for the awareness of what you've went through and where you're now going to be able to head. And then we have the zodiac sign, which is Scorpio, which is a fiery sign. Okay, Scorpio is fiery. That means it's It's got an initiatory nature to it. So in regards to Kabbalah, the 7 lower spheres right here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, these are known as the lower spheres of fiery initiation, meaning these experiences of initiation, of self-development, spiritual self-development, are very challenging and they're very physical. They will literally manifest in your real day-to-day life on a very profound, exuberant level when you go through them, and you'll know what I mean if you've been through it. I've traveled through all these and the Qliphoth. And they're known as the 7 spheres of fire, as I just mentioned. And that card has the zodiac sign of fire, which is Scorpio, and also stands for, like, you could even say hell. Scorpio is kind of like a hellish zodiac sign. It's the darker zodiac sign, which represents, the card of the lady coming out of the darkness. You just went through some very deep transformations that are forever going to change you, and now you're stepping into a place where you're now emotionally refilling yourself, but now with a completely different foundation, and you will never be the same as you once were, and things are only going to start moving forward from here. You went through a really tough transformation. Now things are starting to get a little bit, I will say this, easier. Things are going to get easier in the sense that now you're aware of what transformation is. So when you become aware of that, then you understand, oh, this is necessary. And when you understand this is necessary, it's a part of the process, that makes things easier. Even though they may still be very tough challenges in your future, it makes it easier because you understand it better. Okay? So that's it. I'm going to wrap it up there. I'm going to leave it there. If you felt like that was an accurate reading, drop down in the comments, please let me know. And other than that, that's it. So for everyone who watched this video, if you enjoyed the video, please hit the thumbs up. Also hit the notification bell and the subscribe button, because I post videos as often as I can, and I'd love to see my subscribers shoot all the way through the roof. Definitely, if you feel like, there's somebody else that, as I mentioned from the beginning of the video, if you feel like there's somebody else that could gain value from this, please feel free to share this video with them, okay? Don't hesitate on that. Now, next thing I would like to say is definitely, if you would like to book your own personal reading with me, where I choose 3 cards that are individualized for you, then where you'll be able to find that link is the second link in the description. It says My Square Appointments, and you can book a reading with me for $40. And basically the way I do the reading is present, near future, long-term future, and I break it down in a very powerful way, just like I did in this reading. And I do the reading by myself, and then I record it on my phone, and then when I finish, I send the recording to you. The reason I do it by myself is because I can get in my complete zone. It makes it a lot more effective for me. But although if you did prefer to do it live, I can always do it live as well. It really doesn't matter. I just prefer to do it alone. But as I said, I record it on video, give you your own personalized individual reading, and I send it to you. And then the only thing that I require is your feedback at the end of the video. And basically what the reading can do is it can literally locate where you are in your own spiritual journey of self-development, because I break down the cards all the way down to their Hebrew letter. And so far, for every reading I've done, I've literally been able to locate where people are in regards to their spiritual self-development, as I just said. Okay, so you're going to be able to find that link in the second link below. It says Square Appointments, and it also says Tarot Reading right next to it, so you can't miss it. Next thing I'd like to say is, if you would like to join the Patreon and gain access to exclusive content that is not on my YouTube channel, hit the drop down right in the description once again, but this time the Patreon link is going to be the first link at the top. Okay, so on my Patreon, I have exclusive content. As I said, some of that content is going to be geared towards actual spiritual occult practices that I perform on camera, and I teach you how to perform them yourself so that you get real 100% results with it. Okay, so for example, I have a video on how to do an invocation, and for those of you that don't know what an invocation is, that means you're channeling an external intelligence, pulling it into your own energetic field, and then integrating or alchemizing its power into yourself. Okay, so what that can do is that can increase your psychic senses, that will increase your psychic power, and that can increase your psychic protection. Okay, this is fundamental when it comes to starting your occult practices, and there's 2 major techniques that you need to know how to do it, which involves sigil work and which involves mantra for the invocation. Once again, I break it down very practically in my how to do an invocation video on my Patreon. Okay, then if you're interested in Kabbalah, I have all of the spheres on Kabbalah that are broken down from their symbolism all the way to the spirits that are attributed to them, all the attributes, sphere by sphere, and then after the sphere video of all the symbolism and all the attributes that I break down, I share my own personal experience having initiated through those spheres myself, which is something that you really can't find anywhere else in video format. And I am telling you right now is that it is extremely valuable content if you're looking to spiritually develop yourself through the Kabbalah. Okay, so I have all the spheres documented and broken down so that you can use them, study them, and gain an idea of how this initiatory system works, and I can point you in the right direction on how to initiate yourself through these spheres and gain the power that is to be gained from them and doing it the proper way. Okay, so in order to gain access to that exclusive content, you have to at least be a tier 2 member or up. In order to be a tier 2, it costs $9.95 a month, and that literally comes out to less than $1 a day, so there's really no reason why you shouldn't be able to afford that, especially with the value that I have on there, and that is a fact, okay? As I said, as you go up in tiers, the benefits increase as well. So with that being said, I would love to give a special shout out to the highest tier members of the Patreon. I have their names documented and written down right below that Patreon link right there, at the first link in the description. So huge shout out to you, ladies and gentlemen. Huge shout out. And then I'd like to give another shout out to all my Patreon members in general. Huge shout out to all of you for taking your knowledge to the next level as well. And then I'd like to give a special shout out to all my YouTube followers and subscribers. Okay? Other than that, that's where I'm going to leave this video. So I hope you have a wonderful rest of the day or night, wherever you are, and I will see you on the next video. Peace.